Now, I know Donald Trump, when things aren't going his way, wants to pass the political buck. He might try and throw it back at Joe Biden's face, the former president. That, simply put, will not work. The American people don't buy it.
What is going on, everybody? I am finally back after taking the past week or so to move to a brand new state, and there are just so many things that went on while I was away. We had the government shutdown finally come to an end after I think it was 8 Democrats capitulated and then voted with Republicans. As kind of a result of all that, we had the Epstein files jump back into the news and Donald Trump continued his insane meltdown. But more importantly, guys, we are heading into the holiday season, and I saw some polling over the past week that is just absolutely devastating as far as the economy goes. So that is what I want to jump into first, because as we all know, most voters rate the economy as the most important thing. And even though the government is back open and life should be getting better for at least a subset of people, when you ask the American people how they're feeling about the economy today, it is just not good, guys. So let's go ahead and jump in to these numbers. And I want to go ahead and start off with the consumer sentiment numbers, because they are now the lowest they have been since the 1950s. And then stick around as well, because we're going to jump into how this might affect the 2026 midterms. So if you guys do appreciate my work and want to support the show, please do remember to subscribe.
You know, what President Trump is trying to sell, the American folks aren't buying, and we can see it pretty simply here. Take a look here. This is consumer sentiment, the current conditions. Consumer sentiment can be the current conditions or it can be future expectations. We're looking at current conditions. And get this, according to the University of Michigan, we are dealing with the worst ever view of current conditions dating all the way back since 1951. This is record-breaking in the way you don't want to be breaking records. And get this, Kate, it is down 30%. Consumer sentiment of current conditions down 30% from January when Donald Trump took office. No bueno.
That is significant and something you can't ignore. You shouldn't ignore.
No, you should not.
Ignore it to your peril.
Yeah, guys, so this is just not good. When we look all the way back to 1951, numbers have never been worse than they are today. I mean, if that doesn't tell you something about Donald Trump and his administration's economy, then I don't know what will. If we look around and we see what is going on, we have these blanket tariffs spread out on most industries all across the nation. Prices are getting higher for most people. Groceries are going up. People aren't going to be able to afford their holiday season as they were once hoping to. And then they're asked about how they're feeling about this current economy. And of course, that consumer sentiment is going to be on the decline. But the more important part about these numbers is it's not that just people are feeling disenfranchised or they're just feeling poorly about the economy. Who are they blaming for that bad economy?
But they do not feel good about the economy. How much are they blaming this on President Trump?
Yeah, it would be one thing that President Trump could ignore it if folks weren't blaming him for it. But take a look here. Trump's policies have worsened economic conditions in America. Look at this. We're dealing with a super majority here. We're talking about more than 3 in 5 Americans, 61%, who say that Trump's policies have worsened economic conditions in America. How about worsened your own finances? Again, we're dealing with a majority here. 51% of Americans say that Trump's policies have worsened your own finances. This is double trouble for the President of the United States. When you're dealing with consumer sentiment of current conditions being record-breaking in the wrong ways, being record-breaking for the worst ever since 1951, and you're dealing with a supermajority who say that your policies have worsened economic conditions in America, and you're dealing with a majority who say your policies have worsened the folks' own finances, that is, ay caramba, no good.
Yeah, no matter what, you would prefer to not have this.
No, you would prefer not to, Kate.
Yeah, you would definitely prefer not to have these numbers. Now, these numbers are kind of interesting, and these have always been kind of interesting to me because when you ask somebody whether or not Donald Trump has worsened the economic conditions in America, you've got a supermajority here, which means that even MAGA voters are realizing that Donald Trump is fucking up the economy. But the more interesting part to me is that when you ask people whether or not their own finances have been worsened by Donald Trump, that only stands at 50%. 1%. Now, there has always kind of been this disconnect about how people feel about the economy versus what their personal finances actually means in their own lives. But either way you cut it, guys, these are not the numbers that we want to have going into the holiday season. And when you are blaming the president of the United States, normally that might not be a rational thing to do, but in this particular case, in the way that Donald Trump has come in, he's declared a national emergency to give himself unilateral authority to start implementing these new Trump taxes, these tariffs. Of course, that is going to be impacting people all over the nation. So it absolutely makes sense in this particular case that we can blame these numbers and the weakening economy on the president himself. Normally, you wouldn't be able to do that, but Donald Trump found a way. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the inflation numbers, because as you guys remember, Donald Trump came in and he said that he was going to solve the inflation problem. He was going to bring your prices down. But let's go ahead and see how people are feeling about inflation.
No, not at all. And if I had one piece of advice to my fellow fast food lover, it would be, in the words of Michael Jordan, stop it. Stop going after the polls. You have a real problem. Because take a look here. Americans on inflation, you go back to October of 2024. Who did Americans trust more in inflation, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? They trusted Donald Trump by 9 points on average. You jump over to this side of the screen, those same exact polls have him way underwater, 26 points underwater on his net approval on inflation. So it's not that the polls are fake, it's that the American people have turned against you, Mr. President. You've gone from leading by 9 points on inflation to being 26 points underwater. You're doing something very wrong in the minds of the American public.
I mean, negative 26, that's a problem.
Yeah, I would say that that is a huge problem. Now, obviously, leading up to the 2024 election, for whatever reason, Republicans have enjoyed this advantage on the economy, and therefore they trusted Trump to get inflation under control. I mean, as you can see in the numbers here, guys, it was +9 back in October of 2024 when Donald Trump was about to become president for the second time, get elected for a second time. People thought that he was going to be able to get inflation under control. But that is not what he has done. Inflation has only gone up since Donald Trump has been back in the White House. And this was a predictable thing, which is something we were all warning about before votes were even cast. Donald Trump was talking about how he's going to do these blanket tariffs, and those were going to increase prices all around the country. And that is exactly what happened. So people no longer trust Donald Trump when it comes to the inflation. And if he doesn't get his policies under control, or if the Supreme Court doesn't save him from himself as far as these tariffs go, we are in for a world of hurt. And these next numbers that I want to show you, I think are even more important, because when you ask the American people whether or not Donald Trump cares about their economic outlook, this is what they have to say.
Now, of course, it's one thing if voters don't like the state of the economy, but it's another thing when they don't think that Donald Trump actually gives a hoot. And we see that in the polling, because take a look here. Trump attention to lowering costs, not enough. We're talking about 3 in 4 Americans, 75% overall, who say Trump's not paying enough attention to lowering costs. And even among Republicans, that solid Republican base who oftentimes approves of Trump's job by 85, 90%, 57% of them say that Trump's not paying enough attention to lowering costs.
This is absolutely insane, guys. 57% of Republicans believe that Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about the economic outlook of his constituents. That is absolutely damning, because as Harry Enton just said, normally among the Republican Party, you've got 80, 85, 90, even 95% support of what Donald Trump is doing. But when it comes to the economy and whether they think that he is looking out for them on the economy, you almost have a supermajority of Republicans who say that that is just not the case. And then if you broaden the aperture, obviously, that's a 75% overall. People think that Donald Trump doesn't care about people, his constituents, the voters' economic outlook. That is absolutely damning. Now, I told you we were going to take a look at how this might impact the 2026 midterms, because we are in election season now, baby. We have got 1 year to go to the most important midterms, maybe, of our lifetimes. We could put a stop to Donald Trump and his fascist takeover. So these midterms are very, very important. So if we take a look at these elections that just happened in 2025, when we ask the people who voted as the economy being their number one issue, who did those people vote for? And this might give us a forward-looking indicator of how people might vote in the upcoming midterms.
Now, we're talking about Trump. He, of course, at least constitutionally, can't run for another term, but his Republican Party is up in the midterm elections. They should be scared. SH blank, blank, blank list. Why do I say that? Because we just had a test of this. We just had to test the economy in the off-year elections in New Jersey, in Virginia. And get this, how economy first voters went in 2025. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat in New Jersey. Get this, she won him by 33 points. How about in Virginia? Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat. She won economy first voters by 27 points. If these numbers hold and Donald Trump continues to try ignore a problem that Americans very much think we have in terms of cost of living affordability, well, it might be adios amigos, goodbye for that House Republican majority, and I dare say the Republican Senate majority as well.
So just think about what Harry Enten is saying here. The House the Democrats taking back the House was seen as a pretty likely thing that was going to occur, and everybody thought that the Senate, well, that was a huge stretch. That would have to be some fluke to make that happen. But these 2025 elections, people swung so far in the opposite direction of Trump that even the Senate could be in play in the 2026 midterms. And if you look at the economy first voters, what were those numbers? I think it was 33 points for Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey and 27 points for Spanberger over in Virginia. These are the people who care about economy as their number one issue, and those voters voted Democrat in huge, huge numbers. So if we can take this momentum and we can build on it, we should be able to do some pretty awesome things in the 2026 midterms, obviously with the caveat that we have free and fair elections. Donald Trump and the Republicans are doing whatever they can to try to hold on to the power that they have. But, these past elections in 2025, the American people showed up in droves and said, hey, we don't like what is going on here. So like I said, guys, we need to take this momentum. We need to build on it. We need to provide an aspirational vision for the future of this country. We need to come up with policy ideas that treat everybody and protect everybody with dignity. And we should be able to clean up, is what I am saying. And these economy polls that keep on coming in, how people are feeling on inflation, how people are feeling about whether or not Donald Trump is actually impacting the economy in a negative way, they are always leaning in our favor. So we've got to put in the work now because this year is going to fly right on by. Like I said, we are in election season right now with 1 year to go to the 2026 midterms. But we've got to get feet on the ground. We've got to be putting in the work today because, like I said, guys, this is probably going to be one of the most important midterms of our lifetime. We could stop Donald Trump and his authoritarian takeover in its tracks. So I love to see these numbers. I'm glad I was able to jump back in to the work week with these new set of numbers. And like I said, guys, we just got to put in the work now. And if you are looking to support organizations that are putting in the work, that are getting out and getting out the vote, who are traveling around the country to talk to young voters and register young voters on university campuses all over the nation, make sure you are checking out that link in my bio for the Unfuck America tour. You can sign up to volunteer, you can sign up to donate, or you can purchase tickets to our upcoming event in Phoenix down in December, which is going to be should be an excellent time. And like I said, guys, we've got about a month left to go before that event, and I need to raise a little bit of money to get myself down to that event. So whether you got $5, $10, or $50, every little bit counts, and it would be greatly appreciated because I would love it to make it down to Phoenix in December to see everybody who can make it out. So I will leave it there for now, guys. Glad to be back with everybody. The move went well. I'm just stoked to be in a bluer state. I've been in a deep red state for so long, so it feels good to get out of that deep red bubble, and we'll probably talk about that maybe on the weekly roundup or something a little bit more, but I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We have got to build something here on the left that pushes back against this MAGA media machine that just launders all of this authoritarian nonsense for the Trump administration every single day. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to smash that subscribe button. If you guys want to go a step above and beyond that, you can actually help me produce these videos by becoming a member right here on YouTube for as little as $3 a month, or you can head over to politiscape.substack.com, where you can have my content delivered directly to your inbox every single day without the doom scrolling, without the algorithms. And the cool part about Substack, guys, is I own the data over there. So until the next one, guys, everybody keep that chin up. Let's put in the work today so we are cleaning up in the midterms tomorrow, and I will see you guys on the next one.